Check, check, check. If you could, go ahead and find your seats real quick. We'll get underway. Got a lot of ground to cover today. Got some great young men to honor. As our friends from Texas are here to join us today, we open our doors to them. Don't do that very often to the Burnt Orange very often, but we do once a year here at the Touchdown Club. Without going any further, we want to bring up Gary Underwood. And Gary, will you listen to a word of prayer?
Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for the beautiful day, the opportunity we have to gather together. Lord, we just ask you to use us in every possible way today and the rest of this week. Ask you to be with our families and our friends. Be with these guys that we're going to honor today and their teammates. Lord, we thank you for them and the impact that they make. In your name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Gary. Yeah, boy, do we have some great young men today that we're going to honor. And we've got some great older men that we're going to honor that are going into the College Football Hall of Fame. And we have the president and CEO of the College Football Hall of Fame. How cool is that to have Steve Hatchell here? Of course, you know, we are a NFF chapter, National Football Foundation chapter. So to have the president and CEO here is really a cool deal. And I'm really excited for him to see the kind of young men we have here in Central Arkansas that play football. 2 meetings to go. We got this one, and then next week, Matt, I don't know if you have it ready or not, the pictures of the kickers. Do you have the picture? Next week, we have, I might want to make a bet on that. Steve Cox, Bruce Leahy, Kendall Traynor, and Greg Horn. 4 All-American kickers will be here to finish out the year. I know at times, Brett Bielema, I wish you could have had one of those this year, but 4 guys that are great All-Americans, and Ken Turner, their coach, will be here as well, and we'll finish the year. And don't forget, the last meeting for this season is January 11th, Marcus Allen, NFL Hall of Famer, Heisman Trophy winner. He's all over that Heisman commercial that you see. We've had 2 that, you know, Steve Spurrier spoke here, and, of course, Marcus Allen. So how cool it is to see Heisman featuring them. Is that Toyota? What is that? I never can remember. Nissan, thank you. Yes. So anyway, that's January 11th. I can't remember them all. Listen, they all run together with me. But make sure go ahead and reserve spots for that now as we honor some of the great players across the state high school and college. Parents that are here, before you mute your phone, if you have somebody like a granddad or a cousin or whatever that you want to see your son up here today, your grandson, whoever, go to lrtouchdown.com and they can watch a live stream of it. lrtouchdown.com, a live stream. You can also go to the Facebook page for Little Rock Touchdown Club or the Touchdown Club app, which is provided by Farm Bureau of Pulaski County. So the young men don't have to speak today. But they are going to get up here. We are going to recognize them, and I'm going to talk a little bit about them before our speakers speak. And so that's an opportunity for you to do that. I want to thank our sponsors real quick. Twin City Limousine, Dale Bennett, Popeye today picked up all of our honorees. Greg Hatcher, thank you so much for providing that great service to the Touchdown Club. Little Rock Convention and Visitors Bureau, we are proud to be called the Little Rock Touchdown Club. CGRW, Mark Raines, Dan Sawyer, Darren Gray. Great to have you guys here every week, and you guys do amazing work for companies all over the South. And really appreciate your help. Cliff Harris Awards, it's getting ready to get started. So CJRW, if you're any of your advertising, PR, and marketing needs, they are the best. 103.7 The Buzz. Pat Bradley was out there today. Justin's not here. Thank you, Pat. Tommy Smith and Roger, thank you guys so much for supporting me and the Touchdown Club. They're here every week. Arkansas Urology. Arkansas's largest urology practice, 17 physicians, 8 locations. They are also the Buzz sponsor, being live out here. So Scott Davis and the rest of the gang at Arkansas Urology, thank you so much. War Memorial Stadium. It won't be long, Rex, before we have the state high school championships at the Grand Old Lady. Do want to thank Ron Sally, the new manager, and John Latch, assistant manager. Any kind of rental needs, call those guys. They'll take good care of you. Farm Bureau of Pulaski County. Todd Dennis is the only rep here today. He's the guy, if you need any insurance needs, is the guy, it's a skinny guy with the bald head and the black jacket. Home Auto Life for Other, real service for real people. Farm Bureau of Pulaski County. Thank you for your support, Todd, as always. Dairy Queen of Arkansas. Now, listen, Dairy Queen just now really got started here in Central Arkansas, but our folks here, the Dairy Queen folks here, say it's huge in Texas. Would you guys from Texas concur? Oh, wait a minute. Who did? Bill? Bill owns 25 Dairy Queens. Wait a minute. No. Excuse me. 125 Dairy Queens. Somewhere in between the summer. So you can get me all the blizzards I want, right, Bill? Wow. So we're proud to have Dairy Queen here in Central Arkansas. They've opened 2 stores so far, Bill. They got 1 to go, and they are booming. One of them is the highest grossing Dairy Queen in America out in Sherwood. So thank you to Dairy Queen. Jim Wealth Financial Advisors, John Shrewsbury, Janet Walker, Scott Inman. I'll be getting ready to see these folks here real quickly about some things going on in my life. GetReadyForTheFuture.com is their web address for any of your retirement questions or investment needs. Big Red Stores, David and Doug Hendricks and the Hendricks family. Great to have you guys here today. They're back from their trip to Dallas. Missed you guys, other than David Jr. Want to remind you, even though you can get gas station and coffee, you can even get fried turkeys and Cajun turkeys there. How about that at Big Red in time for Thanksgiving? So make sure and get your orders in for that. Wright, Lindsay, and Jennings, Jacob Lively, Judy Henry. I had up here on stage the other day. Where's Jacob at? Did you drink your bottle yet? No? You're saving that? You're saving that. Well, I can't tell you how much I appreciate Wright, Lindsay, and Jennings. If you have any needs when it comes to legal help, they are the best, and I'm so proud that they're a member of the Touchdown Club. And, of course, did you guys see Pierre Desir yesterday, our winner from the Cliff Harris Award from year 1, intercepted Ben Roethlisberger on the first pass of the game. And so we wouldn't have a Cliff Harris Award if it not for Wright, Lindsay, and Jennings, so we appreciate their support of the Touchdown Club. And there are more than 70 attorneys and 117 years in business. Do want to thank Crane Automotive, 17 dealerships across Arkansas, 900 Arkansans employed. They are the state's top automotive dealer. Thank you, Larry Crane, Chris Crane, and Drew Dees. We appreciate Crane Automotive. The Democrat Gazette, Wally Hall and Amanda Copley. I saw Wally is here today. Now, Steve, do you know Wally Hall? You bet? Yeah, you got to know. You've talked. You've got to make sure to say hello to Wally. But you know what, Wally, too, I didn't realize, but your All-Arkansas Preps that we honor each week, Player of the Week, you guys have announced your banquet speaker. I did not realize that. It's Jackie Joyner Kersey. It will be June 16th, so that's a great speaker. And you've had Peyton Manning and Drew Brees and Cal Ripken. You have some great ones. So that is June 16th, all Arkansas Preps. Thank you, Democrat Gazette. And we have 2 new faces from Simmons Bank at the head table, Karen Marine and Melissa Henshaw. So great to have you ladies here, and we appreciate what Simmons does. We couldn't do all this without Simmons Bank. And I was bragging on Steve Hatchell about your success, and great to have you guys here. And let's give all of them a round of applause, all of our great sponsors. Do want to thank our Touchdown Club team, all the fine folks here at the embassy. Brent does such a good job for us setting up every week, and Beth does too. Matt Johnson, Local Fidelity 6, doing all of our live stream and audio-visual needs. Dwayne Duncan taking all of our photos. And parents, just want to let you know, we've got a professional taking pictures today of your kids up here on stage. And if you've got a request afterwards, just grab, where's Dwayne at? Just grab Dwayne. He's the guy with the beard over here. He can get any picture you need if you want one. RJ Hawk doing our social media. Our Twitter account, guys, at LR Touchdown Club. I'm sure all the young men back here know about Twitter and Instagram and all that. I do not. I do want to thank Farm Bureau Pulaski County again for our Touchdown Club app. Thank you. And our amazing check-in ladies and the guys who set all this up with all the little placards and all that. They do such a good job. Debbie Wyman, our executive director. Great to have Wes Sutton back, who's been our guy that goes out and picks up all of our guests. Clint Albright, who's helped put up all the plaques. Let's give all of our Touchdown Club team a round of applause. We have one additional sponsor I want to bring up real quick. It is Lanny Beavers from Fearless Friday and Hogville.net. And Hogville.net, if you want to find out who the next coach is going to be, it's there's already unofficial head coaching search on Hogville.net. They've been doing the bulletin boards and all that kind of stuff for so long. Lanny's been in it for a long time. And once he heard what we were doing with these kids, Fearless Friday and Hogville.net wanted to jump in and be a supporter. Let's welcome him for a few comments. Lanny, come on up.
Thank you, David. I also want to say a thank you to my good friend Bruce James. When he first talked to me about what was going on here with these high school kids, I said that's what Fearless Friday is all about. Fearless Friday is one of the best places for our prep sports. I want to give a special thanks to my guest today, Kyle King, General Manager, Channel 16, Channel 4, for giving me the opportunity and also helping us spread the word about high school football. Well, it's all the sports, but we're the ones that do the Fearless Friday nights on Channel 16. We certainly appreciate it. But back to Bruce, he was telling me about what the University of Texas was doing and everything. I thought it was a great idea, and I said, you know, that's a great idea. but they're from University of Texas. Let's let somebody from Arkansas help out too. And I certainly appreciate that, Bruce, and we just certainly appreciate everything that goes on, and we like to give back to the high school athletes because that's what we're all about. Thank you, David.
Thanks, Lanny. Thanks, Kyle. Fearless Friday and Hogville.net. Yeah, I will say, Lanny, there have been times, as you know, that yours truly has been roasted on Hogville.net. Well deserved. That's right. I've got a thick hide. I can take it. I do want to say real quick, this is the only time throughout the year, Debbie, who prints up our little placards, name placards, that you will see my name with a longhorn across the top. So it does not happen very often, and I'll hold my nose just because what you guys are doing is so amazing, but I always get a laugh at that. I do want to thank Robert Yates, who does such a good job in helping us compile all of our honorees. Where's Robert? Please stand, Robert Yates, and let's welcome him and thank him for all the work he does. All right, we're going to have a short, abbreviated weekend wrap-up because we have so many people to recognize. So I know, listen, he's floating in Tiger heaven this weekend because of OBU. Everybody welcome Rex Nelson.
You know, David, we do have a sharp, perceptive crowd here, and they listen and they read between the lines. Did you hear David say he's going to be going to Gen Wealth soon because of some things that are about to happen in his life? I think he's got his contract as the new athletic director at the University of Arkansas already in place, don't you? Lenny said start some rumors. You can see him tweeting out there right now, David. You'll have to deal with that all afternoon. All right. Well, I hope your Saturday was as good as mine. It was a great day of college football. I mean, when you beat your biggest rival, win the conference, earn a playoff berth, and end the longest road winning streak in the nation, all on the same afternoon. But we will, thank you, we will start with Arkansas LSU. Now, the team I root for, they're the good guys that wear purple and gold and are called Tigers. These are the bad purple and gold Tigers. You know, I thought about, David, just doing the recap of the first half because that was pretty good. And just stop there. That's kind of how I watched the 69 Arkansas-Texas game. You know, I'll watch the first half, or sometimes I will go all the way through the third quarter, and I'll say 14-0, Bruce, we kicked their butt. And you can turn it off and move on and feel good about things. All right. First half wasn't bad, but it did end up LSU 33, Arkansas 10. Hogs now 4-6 overall, 1-5 in the conference. LSU moves to 7-3 and 4-2. This is the fifth time this season Arkansas has lost by 20 or more points, and that's the first time that's happened in a season. Darius Geis leads the Tigers, 147 yards rushing, 3 touchdowns. LSU outgains the Hogs 425 to 318. Arkansas falls to 3-11-1 in games played at Baton Rouge. LSU leads the overall series 39-22-2. There have been some great games in that series through the years. This was not one of them. On to ASU. Bad day for them, too. They go to Mobile with sole possession of first place in the Sun Belt Conference, and they get upset by South Alabama 24-19. Arkansas State now 5-3 overall, 4-1 in the conference, and they find themselves in a tie with Troy, with Appalachian State, and with Georgia State. So a 4-way tie at the top in the Sun Belt right now. South Alabama moves to 4-6, 3-3. I was listening to that game on the way back to Little Rock from Arkadelphia, and it was tough. Justice Hansen, some of you may have been listening, was going in for what might have been the winning touchdown with 5:18 left. He's stripped of the ball at the goal line. It's recovered in the end zone for a touchback. Hansen was 27 of 44 passing for ASU for 285 yards and 2 touchdowns, but he did throw 4 interceptions on the afternoon. UCA secures at least a share of the Southland Conference title, 56-10 at Incarnate Word. And they probably had them saying some bad words because it was a rear kicking. 1-9, 1-7 they fall to. So how about those Bears? Now 9-1 overall. They are 8-0 in conference play. They can secure an outright title in Conway on Saturday with a win over Abilene Christian, which is only 2-8. Can't take anything for granted, but the Bears may be on their way to an outright title. They outgained Incarnate Word 527 to 294. Their good quarterback, Hayden Hildebrand, 20 of 30 passing for UCA, 226 yards, and 3 touchdowns. All right, on to the Great American Conference. We now officially have a GAC champion, and it's the 9-2 Tigers of Ouachita. GAC title has now been in Arkadelphia. Get this, in 6 of the 7 years that the conference has been in existence. Henderson has won 3. Ouachita has now won 3. Harding won last year. That's the only time outside of Arkadelphia. It came down, great Saturday in the conference, came down to the final week with overflow crowds in both Arkadelphia and Russellville. In Arkadelphia, it was Ouachita 49, Henderson 42 in the 91st Battle of the Ravine. Junior Drew Harris out of Benton, his father is the head coach at Benton High School. I want you to get this. He scored all 7 touchdowns for Ouachita. 7 touchdowns on the afternoon. He now ranks 2nd in Division II in touchdowns scored. He ranks 5th in all of college football in touchdowns scored. Overall series, it's amazing it's this close after 91 games, is now 43 to 42 with 6 ties in favor of Henderson. That's how close that is. Yeah. Ouachita has won 3 of the last 4 Battle of the Ravines, by the way. Just have to mention that. All right, the longest road winning streak in college football came to an end. Henderson had it at 31 games. Ouachita now goes to Michigan. My long handle underwear are out to play Ferris State in the NCAA playoffs on Saturday. Arkansas Tech could have earned a share of the title with a victory over Harding, but they fall 24-17. So Tech finishes 9-3. Harding, get this, which started 0-3, has now won 8 consecutive games. The Bisons also earn a playoff berth. They will play the University of Indianapolis in Indianapolis on Saturday. Southern Arkansas in what they call the Battle of the Timberlands beat UAM 51-20. Mule Riders Barrett Renner, very good quarterback, 21 of 31 passing, 300 yards, 4 TDs. UAPB loses 35-12 at Prairie View A&M. That was the 6th consecutive loss for the Golden Lions. They fought a 2-8 overall, 1-5 in the SWAC. Now, Hendricks, another good year. Ever since they started that program, Hendricks is really playing well. They finish 8-2 overall, 6-2 in conference. They beat those Methodists from Mississippi, Millsaps, 35-21 in Conway. And in the NAIA line, only its 3rd year of football, they finished 5-6. They got near 500. They beat a Texas team, too, Texas College, and they're called the Steers. They're in Tyler. They beat them 41-3 NAIA. So I'm finishing with an Arkansas win over a Texas school today. All right, here's what we have this week, of course. Mississippi State at Arkansas, another early kickoff. Set your alarm early. That's 11 o'clock. Texas State is at ASU. Abilene Christian is at UCA, and Texas Southern is at UAPB at War Memorial Stadium here in Little Rock. So games in Fayetteville, Jonesboro, Conway, and Little Rock. No excuses. Get out and see a college football game on Saturday. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Rex. Real quick before we introduce our athletes today, I do want to welcome back for her 3rd year. She's been very supportive, I know, along with Bill Hall. She's with the Align Capital Group, and Bill is the CEO, but he tells me that Lisa actually runs the company. Lisa Harris, where is Lisa? Please stand. Let's give her a round of applause. Lisa, thank you so much for being here. And for the first time, the CEO of Humble Corporation is here, and here's also a very dynamic company in Texas. And Lisa Pearson, please welcome Lisa Pearson to Little Rock. Lisa, great to have you. All right, so for those of you who don't know why there's a James Street Award, basically, if you've been a member of the Touchdown Club, you remember a few years ago, we invited, because of Bruce James, James Street, and Bob McKay to come speak. And they were the devil. Remember, they were the devil that killed us in 1969 and one of the most painful losses in Razorback history. Well, once we got them here and got them in front of the mic, we realized, wow, they're great guys. They're good guys, and they said, hey, we were fortunate to win that game. And it's a very painful game for the Razorbacks. But once we saw them up here, and they said, not going to charge you a dime, we'll pay our own way. And so they became friends to the Touchdown Club, which I thought was a class act. And Bruce obviously competed against these guys. And so, and they came back again, and I think James Street came back a third time for the '69 Shootout movie. And it was the last public appearance I think James Street ever made here in Little Rock. It was over the Clinton Library. I'm honored to say I helped put that together. And I'll never forget, at the very end, the sold-out crowd there of 300 gave him a standing ovation, and James Street was brought to tears. He was so moved by the people of Arkansas, but all of us were saying, well, thanks for being a class act and helping ease the pain of that loss, which really, I think sometimes we still deal with in our psyche all these years later. But after he passed, Bob McKay sent a check to Bruce James, said, hey, this is in honor of James Street because we love coming and being a part of the Touchdown Club. Take it as you want, do with it what you want to. And Bruce said, man, we got to do something that we can honor James because he was so nice to us, and the fact that Bob did that. And so we thought, what a better award than we don't have a sportsmanship award. So we created the James Street Sportsmanship Award. And it's one of the more unique awards in America. We really haven't gotten a lot of coverage from it out of Texas. We hope maybe that comes because it's so unique. We up here in Arkansas are honoring somebody in Texas because he was bigger than that rivalry. He was just a class act. And fellas, all you guys being honored, he was one of the greatest quarterbacks you'll ever see. Led Texas to a national championship, and in all their years of playing, many consider him the greatest quarterback ever at Texas. I know it's debatable, but I'll never forget the fourth and third play. I've watched it now 100 times. They mixed around Peschel down there. The most unbelievable catch. They're down 14 points in the fourth quarter, and they win. But that's why we're here, to honor this guy right here. And I think it's cool. I think it's something different, something unique. And what's great, these guys also put their money behind it. So between Fearless Friday and Hogville.net and the contributions of the Texas players, every one of these finalists, and I think all of them are winners, will receive $500 cash. Every one of them. Every one of them. That's right. So see, it was worth y'all's time to be here, right? Right? Now, I don't know who gets to get the check, if it's mama, daddy, uncle, grandma, brother, sister, but it's yours to figure out what to do. And the winner gets a check for $1,000. And so what we try to do is just find kids that are just great kids. And so Robert Yates reached out to every high school coach and said, give us a player for the James Street Award. And this is year 4, I believe. And so what I'm going to do, we're going to have Steve Sullivan, real quick, is going to, and by the way, if you're a coach, head coach, assistant coach for one of these kids, please stand. We're going to mention your name in a minute, but we want you to stand before we mention them. If you're a coach here representing high school, please stand if you're here in the audience. How about that? These are the guys that are making a difference. And so what we're going to do right now, Steve Sullivan from the back, KTV, is going to introduce each player, and we're going to ask the Texas guys to go ahead and get up here. Dwayne, come on up. And Sully will introduce the school, the head coach's name, and the finalists for the James Street Award. And Dwayne, you're going to take the picture from right there? You want to do that, ladies? Come on up. Come on up, ladies. Lisa. And Dwayne, you tell everybody where you want them. And if you could, as the players announce, let's give a round of applause for each player as they come up. Hold your applause as they go back. So each one that comes up, we'll give a round of applause. Then we'll announce the winner, and then I'll share a few comments about the kids.
Our James Street Award nominees, representing Little Rock Central, their legendary coach Scooter Register and Bobby Brown Jr. Representing the Little Rock Fair War Eagles, Coach Roosevelt Turner, and our first two-time James Street Award nominee, Khalik Brazel. Representing Little Rock Hall, their coach, Kipcho Van Hoos and Jonathan Aquino. Representing those Fighting Lions of McClellan High, their great coach Maurice Moody and Tommy Crumpton III. What a nice year for Little Rock Parkview. And their coach is Brad Bolding. Their nominee is Zach Smith. From Joe T. Robinson, the coach of the undefeated Senators, Todd Escola, and our nominee is Andrew Williams. Here today for the Mills Comets is Coach Patrick Russell, and our nominee is Richard Rogers. From Baptist Prep, Coach Morgan Cruz, and our nominee, Tyler Holmes. That might have been the best smile right there. They've all been doing well. From Episcopal Collegiate, Coach Michael Carter, and our nominee is Rodney Rice. Representing the Catholic High Rockets, their coach John Fogelman and Austin Baseglia. Representing Little Rock Christian, their first-year head coach who did a terrific job, Eric Kohu. And our nominee from Little Rock Christian is Travis Henderson. He made maybe the tallest winner, a nominee in the history of the James Street Award. From Pulaski Academy, the coach of the three-time defending state champions, Kevin Kelly, and our nominee, Hayden Cobb. And our final James Street Award nominee from Southwest Christian Academy, Coach Wade Menzies. Our nominee is Dylan Houston. How about a big hand for our 13 James Award Street nominees, James Street Award nominees. Great kids.
If we could, real quick, if you are a parent, family member, or a close relative of any of the players, we want to honor you today. Please stand and let's give them a round of applause. Come on, Senna. Thank you for being here. You know, last year I went back and looked at the tape. It was right after the election when we had this meeting. And I made mention how ugly it was, the election last year, and how much negativity it was there, and how nice it was that we were here to honor something positive. So if you will allow me just a couple minutes, I've done this now, this sort of a tradition. I just want to read a couple of the comments from the coaches about their players. I'm not going to point out who they are. This is collectively, so you don't look up there and go, oh, I want that kid. That kid's got the best story. Let me just read it. And all you coaches that are here, we appreciate you taking the time to do this. So this is just a few of off-the-top comments here. This young man was the heart and soul of our football team. Had to cut the season short because of injuries, but it was because his constant force kept our team going. He was a multi-tool athlete that could and would play anywhere. He even played quarterback when the starter got hurt. That's how valuable he was to our team. This young man is the epitome of what we coaches look for in a player. Works hard, trains hard, plays hard. You can't measure his heart for the game of football because there isn't a scale big enough to measure it. He's a true football player if you look up the words. We've had a tough 4 years here at the school. This young man has been the glue of our team. He continues to fight, stay positive, and hasn't given up yet. I can truly say I love this young man's effort and hard work for playing football. I truly can't say enough. Hasn't missed a day of practice. Has a positive attitude, positive energy, work ethic, and his love for God and football. He's going to be a special person when he becomes an adult. I thank God. This is the coach. I thank God for letting me coach him and be a part of his life. Next, playing football for the first time. This young man is constantly encouraging his teammates to have fun and strive to have success on the field. He decided to play sports to improve his health. When teammates are injured, this young man responds with a caring attitude by assisting coaches and trainers. He has a heart of compassion and gratitude towards his coaches, teammates, and fellow students. This young man exhibits great character, sportsmanship, and owns a 3.8 GPA. One of our team captains for this year's football team. He's endured some tragedy and adversity the past few years. As a sophomore, he lost his sister to congestive heart failure. 3 months later, his father died from a massive heart attack. He was at a crossroad in his life, and he wasn't sure what to do. Because of his unbelievable persistence and courage, he has matured and grown into a respectful young man, and he's found a way to cope with having to deal with these tragedies in his life. He's now helping raise his sister's daughter along with his mother. He credits his happiness to God, his mother, his family, and football brothers and coaches. He wears the number 20 jersey to honor his sister because she was 20 when she passed, and he dedicates every game to his father. He plans to attend college and provide a better life for his mother and niece. This next young man has been in the program for 4 consecutive years. He's a rock of our seniors. It's been a tough time here, but he's also been, this is a common theme, the glue that has held our team together, always been a positive force on the field, encouraging teammates. He's maintained a high GPA through a difficult curriculum, earned and maintained the ultimate respect of his teammates and coaches, and that's why I nominated him. This young man's been a part of our program for 6 years, always puts the team first. Despite several injuries, he's always among the first at practice, always encourages other players. In the classroom, he's a model honor roll student, always among the first to help both teachers and classmates. Each Friday, he mentors students at a local elementary school as part of our program's game day community outreach program. Very deserving young man who's always doing the right thing. He's an example of what sportsmanship and teamwork are about. Without his selflessness, our team would have suffered even more without him. This young man is very competitive and works very hard to be successful in his field. He has a desire deep inside him that fuels him to be the best in all that he chooses to do. Proven leader on and off the field, intelligent and faces every challenge with a positive outlook. Shown the motivation, intelligent, and persevering nature that will make him successful in everything he does. He's consistently demonstrated an ability to rise to any challenge that he must face. I believe his character stands alone by itself. This young man is an undersized running back who hustles all the time. Doesn't get a lot of carries, but his hustle could not be ignored. He lettered both his junior and senior years, and a lot of kids are dedicated like him, but few do much work away from the field like this young man. At the age of 12, he started mowing neighborhood yards. This has grown into a company that allows him to be self-sufficient. For example, he's bought his own truck as well as equipment for his lawn service. Now that I think about it, he probably makes more money than me. This is the coach. He's actively involved in other school activities as well as football. There's not a teacher in the school who would disagree with my nomination. This young man has played for 4 years at our school, 0 discipline issues. Whatever's been best for the team, even though it may not be best for him, that's what he'll do. He's son of an assistant coach and has been ridden harder than most because of that. Never complains, though. He gets asked to do all the little errands around the football and basketball teams because he's always here, and he gladly does it. He's an excellent student, 4.0 this last 9 weeks. This young man has led in football for 3 years. His ability is not why he's being nominated today. He was voted our only unanimous captain for our football team. This was in due part to his selflessness, providing whatever assistance he could to help a struggling team. You hear this being said quite a bit. Whatever we ask him to do, he does. He not only humbled himself to play new positions, but he would arrive in the dark before school while the stars were still out to develop himself in these new positions. Next, we have a young man who was selected also co-captain of this year's team. Always been a team player, never put himself above his teammates, always positive and caring each day. 2 years ago, he lost his mom unexpectedly. Immediately, he became concerned for his younger sister and provided her strength and comfort to deal with the tragedy. With support from his faith and team, he worked through it, and most recently reached out to a football player from another school who also tragically lost his mom. In week 5, he suffered a season-ending injury, but did the young man fade away? No. He didn't miss a practice or team meeting. He's been there to support. Friday night, he's our biggest cheerleader. This, again, just amazing. And the last one here I wanted to read. This young man plays receiver for us, starts and rotates with another senior. And what's significant about that, this coach says, because in today's world, people are selfish in a lot of ways, and being a receiver in their offense is not easy to do. But the thing that he loves about this player, he never asks for anything. Never asks for a ball, never asks for a play. He simply runs a route or blocks his guy every play, and he's happy when everyone else scores or has a big play. This is a great compliment. I honestly can't think of anyone in 25 years that I've coached with any better attitude. He loves people and is awesome to every player, ours and our opponents, and absolutely joy to coach. So that is the kind of young men that are up here today, and don't they deserve a round of applause for that? Yeah, I think so. Let's go. There's ever time for a standing ovation. This one now. The difference between we do have one winner, and everybody gets 500, and the winner gets another 500, so it's 1,000, and they're really all of them are winners, are they not? I mean, and that's why I wanted you to look at them collectively as a group, because let me tell you, these are young men that I'm proud to say that are out playing sports and involved in our community and are going to be great leaders. But only one winner can come up here and accept the James Street Award, and our winner is Tommy Compton III from McClellan High School.
I want to say that I love my mama. That's it. I mean, I love my mama since my 9th grade year when everything happened. She's been everything I've had, everything that I need in my life, and worked as much as she can to make sure I got everything that I need so I can perform in that field. And another big role model in my life is the big man right there, Coach Moody. That's I've been playing football for 10 years, the best coach I've ever had in my life. Stepped up the way he didn't even have to. And I just want to thank everybody who nominated me for this award and voted me to win. That I thank you. And you're making me, my sister, and my father very proud. So, thank you.
All right, what we're going to do right now, first of all, if you're a member, if you play football for Texas, well, not you guys, for Texas or Arkansas, especially you Arkansas guys, if anybody played here on that 69 team, the 69 shootout, please stand and let's recognize those players that are here. I know Bruce may mention them. Okay, go ahead. Okay, there we go. All right, we're going to let our man, he's All-American from Moss Point, Mississippi. I'm honored to call him my close friend. I've been doing TV with him for almost 20 years now. He has a passion for people, and he loves these guys from Texas, even though they hit on each other all the time. And he's been a founding member of our Touchdown Club, and he's going to introduce our guys from Texas. Please welcome Bruce James, everybody.
Thank you, David. Let me just start off to thank these high school football coaches that I've seen in the last 4 years about how y'all are seeing the importance of these young men and the ones that are exhibiting to being what we would call the ultimate person to go with sportsmanship, not only on the football field but into life. And I just want to say thank you to the coaches, and we certainly appreciate these young. We got all guys this year, so we normally or occasionally have a young lady, but all of them are winners. So thank y'all for that. There is some Razorback players and out in the audience, and I do want to. Do we have time?
What's that? Yeah.
Okay, good. Anthony Lucas, you wasn't part. You're the youngest one here, so we wanted you to stand up as a Razorback player. Everybody knows Anthony. Anthony, I do know one thing about you that most people don't know in this room. You were born in Vicksburg, Mississippi, and I can really appreciate that. Not only are great. Over here at this table, boy, there's a lot of memories and a lot of love for me. Looking at Mike Boschetti right there, and he and I we met in 1967 in fall camp, and we're there in the very beginning. And Mike is team captain. He actually was the other side linebacker, and you dealt with a lot of these guys yourself all day. Gary Parsons, the big guy, 6'10", he was my roommate on the road, and it was quite funny. The first time I had to spend a night in the room with him down in Dallas, we played in SMU. At 6'10", he goes in, he looks at the bed, and said, "This won't work." Pulls the mattress off on the floor, and he sleeps on the floor. The other thing, and Boschetti will remember this, I remember about spring of 1969, we had played in the Sugar Bowl, and we had beaten Georgia, and we had hired a new coach from Georgia named Billy Kennard, and he was quite a character to say the least. He was a defensive back coach. First time he saw Parsons, we were on the practice field in spring training, and he walks up to Parsons and said, "If I was big as you, I would go down on Dixon Street and charge everybody $1 to breathe." And I have never forgotten that. Gary Adams right there, 68 team, great defensive back, great punt returner, played for the Philadelphia Eagles. He was part of two players that came out of Piggott, Arkansas, that along with Tommy Dixon, that were great players. I also see this guy over here. I got to mention that he's from Little Rock Central. And Mike Beard went to Texas and was a great pitcher there with James Street. He's friends with all these guys, and went on and pitched for Atlanta Braves. So we're glad to have him here. Mr. McKay, I'm going to wait a little while and talk about these other three before you. I really, everybody knows who Randy Peschel is because he caught the great pass. He reminded me today that he and Bob double-teamed on me and that he was a great blocker also. But Randy's one of the nicest guys in the world. I'm going to skip over Mr. Hall and come back to him. Ted Coy, he's probably the most famous guy in this room football-wise. He's part of the legendary Coy family in Texas. He's also probably exemplified the most nice, I guess you would say, outstanding personality on a football field that I ever talked to after a game. And he sort of exemplifies everything about this ward himself. Number 24 went drafted to play professional football with Oakland Raiders. Played 5 years. Said that's enough. I want to be a veterinarian. Goes back to Texas A&M, completes that, and he's been a retired veterinarian down there. And then we have Bill Hall, and he's a student trainer. And what most of y'all don't know, but we know if you've ever played this game, the student trainer is a unique situation on a football team. He's part psychiatrist, part psychologist. He motivates you, or he chastises you, or whatever. But I know how important he was in James' life and all of these guys' life and Coach Royal's life. And Bill is he's gone out and invested all these guys' money, and they're all super wealthy now. So anyway, all right. I call Bob Mr. McKay, and he's always asked me, "Why do you do that?" I'm gonna tell the story today, but Bob McKay's known by a lot of different names in Texas. Most of his teammates call him Biggin. James Street called him Robert Charles McKay. My wife calls him John Wayne. And I said, I don't get that. Why do you call him John Wayne? She said, well, Bruce, if you were in need and you called him, he'd bring the cavalry. I said, okay, well, if he's John Wayne, who am I? And she said, Gabby Hayes. So, but these guys are going to appreciate the fact of how you became Mr. McKay. I like to watch, and David, I'm sure, and anybody's played college football, watch a lot of video, a lot of tape of the opposing team, and specifically the players you're going to play against. I know all of these guys' numbers by heart from 1969, because Boschetti will tell you when you looked into their backfield. I had McKay on me. The next running back I would see, the next person back there was number 24, All-American. Then you had Steve Wooster at fullback, All-American. Then you had, on the other side, Jim Bertelson, All-American, and that guy was running the show. And to say they were good is an understatement. So we did a lot of watching the film the week that we had to prepare, 10 days or whatever it was, prepare for the big shootout. And Coach Brawls, defensive coordinators, different people, they would tell you to, if you had time between classes, and I actually cut a class I had saved up some cuts and went down, and then you guys remember Boris Malcheski, and Boris was in charge of the video that day. So I go down and he said, what do you want to see? I said, I want to see the Oklahoma game, Texas-Oklahoma. And because Oklahoma was the only team really that had played them halfway decent, and I think y'all beat them like 27-10 or something, 17-point lead or whatever. So he gets everything set up and starts the video, the offense, and he said, who are you watching? I said, right tackle, number 62. First 5 or 6 plays, Bob annihilates the defensive end. He's knocking him so far back, he's cutting the linebacker off. And so Boris looked over there and he said, well, what's his name? And I said, Bob McKay. Okay, so we run about 6, 7 more plays, same thing happened, except Street throws a pass. It gets intercepted by the offside linebacker. So here's OU linebacker, it looks pretty fast. And he's coming around, he's circling back around, picking up blocks. And Bob, the offensive tackle at 6'6", about 265, 270, he takes the right angle of attack to cut him off. He's sprinting. He hits him. He absolutely does a bulldog with him out of bounds, just perfect tackle, everything. Boris Malcheski cut the video off and looked at me and he said, if I was you, I'd call him Mr. McKay. So you've been Mr. McKay since 1969, before I ever played against you. Let me just say this about Bob being inducted into the College Football Hall of Fame. If there's one thing I know about football, is right tackles. I played left defensive end. In my career at Arkansas, I played against 4 first-team All-Americans, including regular season, bowl games, and all-star games. Of those 4, 3 were first-round draft choices. 2 are now in the College Football Hall of Fame. Bob, and he knows that I've said this to him before, was by far the best. And he absolutely epitomized everything that you would want in a great football player. But the best thing about Bob McKay is he's a much better human being than he ever was a football player. And if there was anybody that deserves to be in the College Football Hall of Fame, it's Bob.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Bruce is going to have to cash that check now. You know, this is an amazing deal, and like Bruce said, just the fact that we're in Little Rock, Arkansas, and nobody's shot at us yet. And when James and I came the first time, it wasn't quite as nice as it is now. And you could get accosted outside or in here, and they'd tell you about the clip, and they should have won the ball game. And the only thing I could tell you is you look in the book and it still says 15-14. And every time we watched the replay, James lost money on the bet because he's still betting on Arkansas at the third quarter. But James was the thing that held our team together. And, you know, you look in my problem with going in the College Football Hall of Fame is there are 11 of us in the huddle. How in the hell do you pick one out? Because we had a pretty good team. And the thing was, you didn't worry about what the other 10 were going to do. You did your job. That's all I had to worry about. And sometimes that didn't work out real well. Sometimes it worked out real well. But I'm going to carry Bruce around with me from now on to introduce me wherever I go, because it's a hell of a lot better than what the real thing was. You know, but we came together as freshmen and talked about this before. We had a freshman team. It wasn't, you couldn't play as a freshman. So we had 60 kids on scholarship. We had 65 walk-ons. So the first day at practice, we had 125 kids on the team. 11 teams of offense, 11 teams of defense. So you go over and there's a full sheet of paper. You're trying to find your name on there and what color jersey you're going to wear today. And if you didn't like the way things went, you were more than welcome to leave because there were people standing in line to take your place. And by the time that first year was over, you've spent all your time on the freshman team. You got to play in the toilet bowl on Monday. You got to scrimmage everybody didn't play on Saturdays, seniors, juniors, and sophomores. So you knew who would cheat, who would play, who would hide, and who would run. So by the time we got out of that, I think that's what teams are missing now today because they don't have that time to build that camaraderie like we did. And James, we had 11 quarterbacks in our freshman class, and James was number 11. Little bitty, scrawny runt, I mean, from Longview, all mouth and no butt. But he showed up, and when it came time to play, he played. And we went through the first 2 years, 6-4. And James was playing baseball in spring training in '68, and they had offered Coach Roll an opportunity to leave if he didn't do better. And so he came out and extorted us to do better. And we had about 20 of us went to the hospital, and about 30 of them quit. And it turned everything around. We went, we lost, we tied the first game, lose the second game, and then we go on a 30-win streak. So he knew what he was doing. And we found a quarterback in James. He didn't have the first idea. He couldn't throw the ball across this room without it bouncing twice. And in fact, when we played y'all, we told him that it'd be best if he didn't run. I mean, if he didn't throw the ball anymore, because he was 50-50, 50 to y'all and 50 to us. And hell, we're looking for when he didn't complete a pass. That was a good deal, because that means we weren't covering it. But as the game went along, you know, he never wavered. I mean, it never entered his mind. It never entered our mind that we weren't going to win. And we were blessed to come out on top on that deal. And James went on and started a career and got to be the best at what he was doing. I mean, it's amazing how I can't call him what I want to call him, how well he did at what he's doing. I mean, he was structured settlements, got to be the best one in the country. And, you know, you couldn't outwork him. The problem is when he's going somewhere, Robert C., how do I get to San Angelo? Well, hell, James, you were there last week, same way you got there last week. Go back over. I can't remember. So he couldn't see the end of the hood, but figured if he's going to die, that he's going to die in a car wreck, because he couldn't see. He wouldn't wear glasses, and he's talking on the phone, 980 miles an hour. But he was always up. I mean, he was the man that was leading the charge, and always, if somebody was in trouble, he was there. And the best thing that I can say about the whole team that we had and came out of this is football brought us all together. I mean, it's a special time. And when you're in high school, that's about as good as it gets. You know, everybody said, well, you played in college. I was the luckiest man alive. I didn't think I came from a small high school in West Texas, had 300 kids in high school. And I was too stupid to know I wasn't supposed to play at Texas. So that's the reason I went. And it worked out. Then I got drafted. I go to Yankee Stadium, one of the first ball games I play in Yankee Stadium. I'm in trouble because I'm out reading the plaques in center field and they're wanting to work out. I ain't got time for that. Sat on every toilet in there in case Mickey Mantle came through and sat on one of them. But the whole thing is football is what brought us all together, and we're here. And the coaches that spend time with it, that's what this whole thing's about. High school is as good as it gets. And gentlemen, your coaches and the players on your team have picked y'all for a reason. You've shown what you can do. And I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. We didn't vote on you. Your coaches did, and your players did. That's about as good an endorsement as you can ever ask for. And, it's all about a team. It's not I, and it's we. Because I'm going to promise you, I don't care how good a running back you are, if we hand you the ball and the rest of us take off, you're in deep caca. It doesn't work anyway except if we try to help you. And that's the thing I'm telling you. That's what made us so good, is that we had to get out of the way, because if it was a stalemate, it hurt. Ted hit you in the back you're standing up, he hits you, it hurts. Trust me. So it's an incentive. But the whole deal is, I knew he was going to do what he was supposed to do. So all I could do is do the best I could. And it's one of those things that, people are on football right now. Well, hell, anybody in their right mind that puts a piece of plastic on their head and runs into each other, well, hell yeah, it's going to hurt. I don't care who you are. Your parents have spent all this time, walk through the door, don't walk into the wall. Okay. So now we got a gentleman who walks out there and he said, here, put this plastic on your head. I want y'all to get 10 yards apart and run at each other as hard as you can. Sounds like a good deal to me. And it's not for everybody. It's not, and that's okay. Hell, that's all right. That shows some of them are smarter than the rest of us. But the one you're looking for is he's hit that deal, and he's got tears running down his eyes, snot's running out his nose, and he's grinning. Because let's try it one more time. And that's what you're looking for. And that's what life's all about. Hell, life isn't fair. Never has been. It's not going to be fair. People are going to yell at you, talk dirty to you. Everybody's looking for a safe place. Somebody said, where's your safe place? Any damn place I'm standing. And that's the way everybody is. Life isn't fair, but it's life. And football is a hell of a way to go through life. Thank you.
We just got a few minutes left. Steve, you know what? You give a mic to a Texas Longhorn, you're not going to have much time left. Just want to let you know that. I do want to thank real quick Bill Hall. Your effort for getting this done. You're the ringleader, and can't say enough about you for all your work. And he was a great manager under an unbelievable coach in Darrell Royal. But just to close us out here, say a few words. This gentleman, Steve Hatchell, gang, is the president and CEO of the National Football Foundation and the College Football Hall of Fame. He just went to the Colorado Athletic Hall of Fame and has an unbelievable career. He's been a past commissioner of the Southwest Conference, the Big Eight, the Metro Conference. He's been the executive director of the Orange Bowl. He's even was a commissioner of the Professional Rodeo Association, which is amazing. But he came all this way. I know he didn't have a lot of time, but we thought at least come up and share a few words because we're proud to be a member of the National Football Foundation. Please welcome Steve Hatchell, everybody.
We'll go through a couple of things. First of all, it's nice to see all of you, and it's wonderful to be here, David. Thank you. Terrific job. This is a great testament to the sport of football, and our organization this year is 70 years old, and we have chapters such as here in Little Rock in 47 states, and we work with 5,000 high schools and 500,000 high school football players every year. So it's a big deal for us, big deal to be here. So thank you. And on behalf of Archie Manning, our chairman, and our board of directors, a thank you to all of you for what you do for football, and it's very important. A big thank you to all of our friends from Texas. So let me give you a different perspective. When I was at Colorado, we could not beat Texas. Part of it was we never played. We were in the Big Eight. And when you had this supposed big game, Texas and Arkansas, we were beating the crap out of Bear Bryant in Alabama in the Liberty Bowl. So just to give you some perspective, there was a lot of other football going on at that time. So, and it was the most points ever scored against Alabama in a bowl game. So I'm just saying, and I could go on and on. Bobby Anderson rushed for 252 yards. Took Bobby, anyway, it was a lot of fun. And so the best part of today is, as David mentioned, we had Hall of Fame at Colorado this weekend, which was a big thing. But what was really terrifying, which turned out to be pretty good, was I had to introduce somebody for a donors meeting on campus in Boulder. And I had my wife with me. My wife is a behavioral geneticist. And I, to this day, don't know what that is. But she teaches doctors to do a lot of different things. So she accompanied me to this meeting, and I was feeling my oats until we walked in to do this introduction. A lady walked up who heads up this whole advocate program, and as we're being introduced all the way along, she holds my hand and says, "Do you remember me?" And at that point, my life flashed in front of me. And so I didn't want to be in the Hall of Fame anymore. So it turned out that it was a friend of one of my sisters who had gone there. So I sweated profusely. I'm going to let this go. Well, you never know. Football players are football players, right? So a little bit terrifying. First of all, to all of you young men, and I have to say we do this in 47 states and work with people. This is marvelous. So pat yourselves on the back. Congratulations to all of you coaches and parents. This is as good as it gets. We have the best sport in any place of the country. And so what you do here in Arkansas, and all of you guys, pat yourselves on the back for a job well done. We appreciate you. I'll go through a couple of things, and I'll be brief. Let me tell you what it takes to get into the College Football Hall of Fame. We created the Hall of Fame in 1952. We have built a new Hall of Fame in Atlanta, Georgia, that's open just 3 years. It's a $68 million facility, and you have to go see it. It wasn't built for any of you out here. It was built for these young guys. It's highly interactive. You go in there, and you're going to see not only memories, but you're going to see the great things about our game, and we have a lot to talk about. Our game was started by people such as General Douglas MacArthur and President Eisenhower and the guy that created Pan Am Airlines and the guy that created Tiffany's, and the list goes on, because they all wore a helmet, the game mattered to them, and they wanted to give back. So this is a tough time, as Bob pointed out. Our game is under attack. So on our board, besides Archie Manning, I have Jerry Jones, I have Robert Kraft, I have the head of GE. I have the head of Apple, Tim Cook. We have 47 people who care about the game and want to give back. So what we try to do is to showcase the good in the game all of the time. To get into the College Football Hall of Fame, where Bob is, and we like to throw out these numbers. Since 1869, when the game started, there have been 5.2 million guys that have played college football. You have to be a first-team All-American as a player to get into the Hall of Fame. So why is that important? Well, you got to draw a line somewhere. So people like Joe Namath and Joe Montana weren't first-team anything, and they're not in the Hall of Fame. They can't get there. But for Bob McKay to get there, it means that it has to go through a screening committee, has to go through our honors court, which is made up of some very wonderful, powerful people, and we take 12 to 14 Hall of Famers every year. Now, to do the math on that is .002 to get into the College Football Hall of Fame, so it's very exclusive. So for Bob to get in, it represents the '69 game, which was one of the great overall stories about college football that makes our game so great today. What happened in 1969 with Texas and Arkansas, regardless of which side you were on, it was a very special moment in time. And to have Bob McKay to go into the Hall of Fame and represent that era is very, very special. So congratulations, Bob. Thank you. A couple of campaigns that you should be aware of that we have, and I won't go very long. We've got all kinds of consultants on things at the National Football Foundation. We're based in Dallas, Texas. In our office now is the 150th anniversary celebration of college football, which will be in 2019. The football writers are based in our office. And we have a campaign of I'm a football player. And why is that important? Because with the narrative that comes out of the NFL with players today, it's wrong. It's wrong, and as Bob pointed out, you can get hurt playing football. But we come up with the statistics and have them, and they're very strong. There are more concussions in girls soccer than there is in all of high school football. There are 1.2 million young guys playing high school football around the country, and we track all of this. You can get hurt playing football. We know that. But we can also tell you, and we like to point out, that there are people who played high school and college football at all walks of life who are some of the greatest leaders in this country. Doctors, lawyers, principals, teachers, great parents. It's Mark Harmon that you see on NCIS, was a great, marvelous option quarterback when he was at UCLA. It's the mayor of Dallas, Mike Rawlings, who was a terrific offensive lineman at Boston College. Why is that important? When policemen get murdered in Dallas, Texas, who was the one guy that wades in and says, I have a solution for this. We're going to shut this down. We're not going to have chaos. We're going to make things happen. And he would tell you today that his training as a football player on how to be tough, how to show some grit, came from his days as a football player. And the list goes on and on. So I'm a football player is very, very important to us. We also like to point out that there are more schools starting football in this country than at the history of this country. There are 777 colleges and universities that play football in this country. It's 81,000 young guys playing football. Take out the top 65 schools. Take out Arkansas and Texas. That means you have 712 schools that are playing football with kids that want to play college football. They are not going to the NFL. They want to play college football. Two of those that started recently, they were mentioned here today, Hendrix College and Lyon College. More opportunities for young guys to play college football and go on and do great things. And we have leaders all over the country who played college football and said, I'm here because of the game of football. And we like to showcase that all the time. So you get down and the narrative says these guys, all they want to do is play in the NFL. So out of the 81,000 that play college football in any given year, only 1.6% will get drafted or signed as a free agent. But the real number that makes it to the NFL is 0.6%. Why is that important? 99.4% are going on to do other things in life. So we have allowed the tip of the tail of the dog to wag the whole thing relative to the narrative on football. We also did a study this year to show that there are, in Division I only, 130 schools, there are 971 student athletes this year who have already graduated and are working on a second degree in college football this year. So everyone says, well, the Alabama kids, all they want to do is go to the pros. Alabama has 14 guys who have already graduated. They're playing football for them this year. Florida has 14. Northwestern has 18, and the list goes on and on. 971 divided by 130 is a pretty good number of guys that have already graduated. We're excited just from an Arkansas standpoint that one of our scholar athletes that we just recently announced that gets an $18,000 postgraduate scholarship from us is Blaze Taylor from Arkansas State. He's already earned 2 degrees and he's working on his 3rd. Now, at the University of Colorado, which we think is a pretty good school, I don't know how you do two degrees and get a 3rd, play football and have a good time. So I haven't figured that one out. But just next time you hear Blaze Taylor, think about excellence all the way across the board. So I will, with that, I will conclude. I know that we're on a time schedule, but I just want you to know that there are great things being done for our game, recognizing these wonderful people with this wonderful organization that you're all part of. Thank you, all you coaches. Thank you, parents, for making a difference, because you do stand up and you do stand into the wind, the negative winds that say football matters, because football really matters because of the wonderful people who play it, like these young men behind us. So terrific to be here with you, terrific to be with all of our great friends from the University of Texas and Arkansas, and just do all you can to promote the good in the game, and we appreciate it. Thank you very much.
All right, everybody. It was a great meeting. Come up and get your picture made with these young men you want to, and we'll see you next week. God bless you, and congratulations, young men, all you James Treat Award finalists and winner.
Sorry I took.